instead of just sitting here in this weird, awkward silence, I'm going to show you guys my view for anybody that wants to jump on here later and watch this, or anybody that joins us. I am spending some of my time, my quarantine time, here in a very, very small town in Michigan. And right now, I am so fortunate. I'm so fortunate that this is my view. So this is what I have behind me while I get to teach yoga with you guys today. And believe me, I'm going to show you guys again. Believe me, this is like the world's greatest place to quarantine to, because if you look around, there's not a soul in sight. Like, I don't even know if there's 10 people. Oh, look, if you look really closely, you can see a muskrat and a duck. That's it. Those are my neighbors for the time that I'm up here, and all those little bugs you see swarming around out there. Those are my neighbors. While I'm here, there is literally like not another soul in this area. There's tons of houses. So in the summer, this place is crazy busy, you know? But right now, during all of this, this is potentially the world's safest place because nobody is here on this little tiny lake with us. So I am incredibly fortunate to be able to be spending my time doing plenty of thoughtful reflection because there's not much else to do up here. Enjoy the scenery and think about, contemplate my life decisions. And believe me, that can get a little bit dangerous from time to time as well. So I hope that you are all, I hope that you are all finding some peace and solace and enjoying your time, whether you're an essential worker and you are out there busting your butt to keep us all safe, or you are, I'm going to say non-essential, but I think that we're all essential in our own way. Just right now, we are in desperate need of other types of services. So I hope that everybody out there is finding solace and everybody is enjoying as much as they can this time for reflection. And I'll be anxious to see like what the new normal looks like when we all go back to work. I'll be very anxious to see like what kind of shifts in perception and what kind of changes we all decide to make in the future. So with that being said, let me just check one thing down here. And let's do this, right? Okay, so my name is Bryn I am an instructor at the YMCA. I usually teach spin, I teach some yoga sometimes. We're very excited to be able to come to you virtually during this time that we are asked to be apart. So we're very, very grateful that you guys are taking advantage of these virtual videos that we're doing with our virtual memberships. We have tons of classes. If you go to the CRYMCA page, we've got all sorts of different classes, yoga amongst a ton of other stuff. So we're doing our very best at the YMCA to stay connected to you guys, even though we are far apart. With that being said, welcome to Beginner's Yoga. I'm so excited that you're here with me today or viewing this on your own time. I absolutely understand. From what I understand in Crown Point right now, it's beautiful and sunny and it's going to be 70 degrees. It's similar up here. We just haven't gotten the sunshine yet, but it's coming. So let's start today. Today is going to be a beginner's practice. So if you are new to yoga, great, welcome. We're so excited to have you with us. If you are an old hat to yoga, this will all come very easy to you, but it's a nice, gentle breath work practice. We're going to get in touch with our breath. We're going to match it with our movements, and we're going to go through our practice. I'm going to have you start today in Shavasana. So I'm going to have you lay flat, and today I'm kind of doing this without props, right? So this is an exercise mat. It's not actually a yoga mat. Fine. I don't have my blocks. I don't have my bolsters. I'm not at home. I'm not in my studio. I'm not at the Y. So we're going to make do with what we have, because I think there's probably a couple of you at home that don't have yoga blocks and yoga bolsters. I'm sure that there's a few of you that are like, hey, I've never taken a yoga class. Maybe this is a good opportunity for me to see if I even like it, right? So you're not professionally outfitted for a yoga class. So today, instead of blocks, instead of bolsters, I'm just using regular outdoor couch cushions because that's what I have available. And let me tell you, Let me be honest with you. Yoga is not meant to be done well. Yoga is just meant to be done. So let's just do it. So we're going to start in Shavasana. So taking either your bolster or a pillow, whatever you have available. I'm going to do my best to stay in this frame, but part of me is going to disappear for short times. You just follow along. Hopefully, I can guide you enough with my voice that you only have to look at the screen minimally. So by placing a pillow or a bolster or something underneath your knees and stretching out flat, that should take some of the pressure off of your low back. So by starting in Shavasana, I'm going to have you roll your shoulder blades back and down so that you're creating space across the chest. Allowing your arms to fall to the side with your palms facing up, which will allow your shoulder blades to come together just a little bit more, creating kind of a flat upper back against the floor. Bringing the back of the head to the floor. And tucking your chin just slightly towards your chest. Going to create a long neutral spine. Tucking your chin too much is going to kink the spine. Just tucking it just slightly to create, you can picture your spine flat on the floor right here. That's what we're looking for. And then begin to just let go. Let go of any tension that you're holding in your toes and your feet. Let go of any tension in the ankles. Maybe shake them out just a little bit. Letting your feet kind of fall away from each other. Releasing tension from the knees and the hips. Separating your teeth. And letting your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. We carry so much tension in our mouth. Clenching our teeth and holding tension there. So just sending your awareness to your jaw, letting that bottom jaw hang heavy. Letting your eyes close if that suits you today. And if not, if you feel like you're fighting it, if you feel like you're fighting to keep your eyes closed, then just soften your gaze, taking in a little light for these next few minutes as possible. And once you begin to settle in, taking your awareness just to the breath. So there'll be several times during this practice that I encourage you or remind you to visit your breath. This is one of those times. Intentionally drawing the breath down into the belly here, instead of stopping it up in the chest here like we normally do. A normal breath, usually you feel the chest rise, you feel the chest fall. This time I want you to draw that breath down past the chest, past the ribs, feeling the belly rise all the way into your hip bones. At home, you should be able to see my entire belly rise with every inhale, fall with every exhale. Slowing the breath down. Now, I would like for you to ask yourself the question before we get started today. Ask yourself this question: what is it I need from this practice today? So something brought us all here to this video or to this time or to this practice or whatever. What is it? What is it we are seeking from this practice today? In yoga, this is called the sankalpa. So what is our intention? What is our purpose for this practice? Is it flexibility? Is it mental stability? Is it peacefulness? Is it tranquility? What is it that we seek Is it a physical element? Is it an emotional release? What is it we seek? And then begin to turn it into an intention that you're going to repeat over and over and over for the next minute or so. But just starting with the words, I am, and then filling in the blank with the word that suits you today. I am peaceful. I am flexible. I am tranquil. Planting that seed that you already are, whatever it is you seek from this practice today, and allowing that to take root as we begin our practice. So now as we lay here for just another minute, repeating to yourself over and over and over, I am peaceful, or whatever your word is. You could be hungry, I don't care, whatever. Deciding your word for your practice now. And then letting that idea, letting that concept just kind of slide into the back of your mind. So during our practice, I may remind you, I may encourage you to revisit that sankalpa again. So for now, you can kind of just let that slide into the back of your mind, knowing that it's always there in the background. And let your breathing return to normal. So no longer intentionally adding that length to the inhale and exhale, just letting it return to whatever your normal is. And if you're using a bolster or anything under your knees, I'm going to have you just slide it out and place it here on the left side of your body. You may or may not need it for this. That's the beauty of yoga, right? So you'll decide what it is you need from this, how much support you need, and where we're going to go from there. So continuing to lay flat on the floor, keeping that chin tucked just slightly towards the chest. We're going to pick up the left foot, planting the bottom of the left foot just inside the right knee. And on your next exhale, you're going to allow that left knee to fall open, either resting on a pillow, a block, a bolster, a blanket, a rolled up blanket will work just fine, whatever you have right here. Or if you feel like that's not enough of a stretch, if you feel like you can do more of a stretch, you can remove that pillow and allow that knee to meet the floor. However, if you feel this right hip lifting, if you feel like this is coming up off the floor so that the left knee can find the floor, you may need just a little bit of support. So adding that blanket or bolster or whatever, and just giving yourself a break, just allowing a gentle opening of the hips before we start our practice. This is just a good way to let the body know, hey, we're going to be doing some movement here in a minute. I'm going to need you to relax and open and trust me. So just taking a few breaths here. Now, if this was a restorative class, we would hold this pose for like 4 minutes on each side, right? We're not going to do that today. Just a couple of breaths just to get things open, just to get things, give ourselves some space. On your next inhale, taking that left knee back up, left knee pointing towards the ceiling, and then sending that leg out long to meet the right leg. Shaking out both legs and taking your pillow or bolster or whatever and switching it to the other side. On your inhale, draw that right knee up, planting the right foot just inside the left knee. Exhale, letting that right hip open, allowing the right knee to find the support. Returning your hands to the side, palms facing up. Noticing if one side feels tighter than the other. Noticing if this was comfortable on one side and tight on the other, or if this was difficult on one side, or if you needed more support on one side. I know I say this a lot, but just remembering that yoga system always reminds us that balance is a myth. So just because you can do something comfortably on one side doesn't mean it's going to match up perfectly on the other. And you know what? It doesn't matter at all. we're all seeking perfection, right? We're all seeking this symmetry. Taking that right hand under the right knee. On your next inhale, bringing that right knee up, sending that right leg out long, and shaking out both legs. Keeping that pillow or block right here on the right side. We're going to draw that left knee up this time, planting your left from right, Bryn. Come on, get it together. Left foot flat on the floor. And you're going to pick your hips up and move them over maybe just an inch or so to the left. Then we're going to take that left foot, place it right directly over the right kneecap. Sending your arms out to the side like airplane wings. So they're going to be up a little bit higher, almost shoulder height, palms up, palms down, whatever's most comfortable for you. And on your next exhale, you're going to begin to roll your hips, allowing that left knee to cross the midline of the body and come down and find the support that you have waiting for it here with this pillow. Trying to keep this left shoulder firmly on the mat. So if that means that that's too far for you, add another blanket, add another bolster, add another pillow. Bring the floor up to meet you. You want to feel a gentle stretch in the low back, but you don't want to overstretch to the point where that left shoulder is coming up off the mat. Breathing into that twist. So your abdominal muscles are kind of twisted here. All of your organs are a little bit compressed. Drawing that breath in, squeezing out all the impurities. This is like a natural detoxification anytime you're in a twist. And now taking the right hand and just putting it over the left knee and adding just a little bit of pressure, just to deepen that stretch, just to add a little bit more torque to that low back. And picking up your head, if it's comfortable, and looking out over the left shoulder. If that creates compression in the neck or any kind of discomfort, then just keep your head neutral. Breathing into that twist. Picking up your head, returning it to neutral if you were looking over the left shoulder. Releasing that left knee from the right hand. Rolling back to your back, taking the left foot, planting it on the floor, and scooting your hips back so that they're more neutral now, kind of in the center. Sending that left leg out long and shaking out any tension that you're holding from that twist. Now let's reverse it. So I'm going to take my pillow and switch it to the left side here. I'm going to take my right knee, point it towards the ceiling, plant that right foot on the floor, pick up my hips, scoot them over just an inch or so to the right, pick up my foot, place it right over my left kneecap. I'm going to send my arms out, shoulder height. I'm going to have my palms facing up. You guys can go whichever way is more comfortable for you. Drawing in a deep breath, and on my exhale, I'm going to roll to the left, allowing my right knee to come down to find the support of my pillow. Focusing here to make sure that my right shoulder did not come up off the mat. And if it did, then I'm just going to reach up and I'm going to grab another pillow and I'm going to add more support so that I'm not over torquing, so that I'm not hurting myself. Remember, we're not in competition with anybody, not even ourselves. It makes zero difference if you are way up here or if you are way down here. The only thing that matters is that you're here. You're doing this. You're doing this for you. Now I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to place it on the outside of my right knee, and I'm going to add just a little bit of pressure. Like, when I say a little bit, I mean like 2 to 5 pounds of pressure. Like, I can add the pressure with just one finger. I'm not really torquing it and creating, a ton of strain throughout my low back and even into my hips. Just enough to deepen that stretch just a little bit. And I'm going to pick up my head and I'm going to turn it to the right. I'm going to continue drawing that breath deep into the belly here. On my next exhale, I'm going to release my hand. I'm going to pick my head up and bring it back to neutral. I'm going to roll back to my back. Take my right foot, plant it on the mat, scoot my hips to the center, send that right leg out long and shake it out. Then I'm going to draw my knees into my chest and I'm going to rock back and forth. Just giving myself a little bit of a low back massage. I'm going to roll to my left side and I'm going to take a breath here. So if you don't get anything else out of this class, let's just focus on this moment right here, because I feel like this is what's happening in our world right now. So rolling to the side and just take a moment and pause and enjoy the pause. We get really, really caught up, myself included, really caught up in what comes next and what are we doing next and where do we go from here and blah, 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 right? What's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen? Right here, like this is where the magic happens. Just enjoying this one moment where there's no expectations of you and none of it matters. Okay, now it's over. So placing both hands on the floor, we're going to first come up to seated. And then we're going to place our hands on the mat and just find our way up to standing, however that works for you. So take your time coming up to standing. Oh, the fishermen are out there. There's fishermen out on the lake now. Okay, so funny story real quick. There's a heater over here because the floor out here is super chilly. And I was laying there with my head, looking over my right shoulder, trying to do what I was telling you guys to do. And I feel like Ace Ventura. You ever see Ace Ventura? When his eyes are like all dry and his lips are like stuck up here. That's what I feel. Like my face is all dried out. My eyes are watery. My lips feel like they're stuck up here. Okay, anyway. So you're going to come to your mat. I'm going to stand in the middle of my mat just because that's the best view that I can give to you guys for what I'm doing. If you guys want to go long way, traditionally, we would be standing on our mat long ways to do forward fold. But this is how we're going to start it today for me. So I'm going to start just by kind of distributing the weight on my feet evenly, spreading my toes wide to create a wide, solid foundation for myself, keeping my feet just a few inches apart, not quite shoulder distance, a little bit narrower than that. And then I'm going to rock forward and back, just to activate all the 4 points of my feet. Let my feet know I need you here, sending them a message, and then settling in. So finding your weight evenly distributed over the 4 points of your feet, the backs of your heels, the balls of your feet, spreading your toes out, sending your arms down the side body, palms facing in, rolling the shoulders back and down, and tucking the chin just slightly. So we are in almost the exact same position as we were in when we were laying down. This is mountain one. So this is an active pose. We're not just standing here, right? What comes next? No, this is an active pose. So your arms, your fingertips are kind of reaching down the side body, reminding your shoulders to stay down. We like to hike our shoulders up as we begin activities, rolling the shoulders back and down, reaching those fingertips down the side body. Kneecaps are kind of lifted as we engage the thigh muscles, keeping the legs active as well. Drawing that breath down into the belly. Good. And then your next inhale, arms are going to come up overhead. Palms facing together. This is mountain two, just taking a breath here, not doing anything else. Just taking a breath here, keeping the legs active. Fingertips are now reaching towards the ceiling. And on your next exhale, Hands are going to turn so they're now palms are facing out, and we're going to hinge from the hips. So as we begin to fold forward, we're not collapsing into it. We're dropping our hips back, spine stays flat as we begin to drop into our forward fold. Once we are completely bent, dropping our chin to our chest, letting our arms kind of hang heavy. Feeling that stretch up through the hamstrings, feeling it maybe even into the low back. But as we hang heavy, we are releasing all of this tension through the back of the neck, through the head, through the shoulders. This is ragdoll pose. So just allowing the weight of your arms to draw you closer to the earth. And on your next inhale, you're going to take your palms of your hands to your shins. Inhale, halfway rise. So creating a flat back here, lifting your gaze to the outside wall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending at the knees, sending the arms out to the side like airplane wings. Inhale all the way up, palms coming together. And on your exhale, we're going to exhale into chair pose. So beginning to squat. As you exhale, bringing the hands to heart center like you're sitting in a chair, taking one breath here. Inhale, sweeping those arms out and around, up back to mountain two, palms facing out. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to do the whole thing again. Letting the arms hang heavy, taking a few breaths here. Excuse me. Palms to the shins. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending at the knees, arms to the side, reaching up. Palms coming together. Exhale, into chair. Full breath here. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Palms facing out. Exhale, forward fold. This time we're going to take one elbow and kind of reach across so that your palm is kind of resting in the nook of that elbow, and same on the opposite arm. So your arms are going to look kind of like this, creating just a little bit more of a weight, pulling you closer. Your knees can be completely locked out. You can have a soft bend, or you can be completely bent. If it's too painful, if it's too much strain for you to be with your knees locked out, you find that sweet spot for you. Releasing those palms to the shins. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending at the knees, arms to the side, reaching up. Palms coming together. Exhale, into chair. Full breath here. Inhale, arms sweeping up. Palms coming together. And down to heart center. Great job. Okay, so we are going to, from wherever you're standing on your mat, we're going to take one step forward with our left foot. So if you were to look down at your feet, the right foot, the arch of the right foot and the heel of the left foot should kind of match up. Wider than shoulders distance, because you want to have a good solid foundation here. But if you were to draw like an imaginary line, right here, the heel of your left foot would match up perfectly with the arch of the right foot. So just finding that comfortable spot for you. You may have to walk it in, you may have to walk it out as we get started. You'll find whatever works for you today. So bending that left knee. Now this is what I want you to pay attention to during this pose. I don't want anybody hurting their knee. As you bend into this pose, your knee is going to come out over your last two toes. So the pinky toe and the ring toe, right? So the fourth toe. So don't let your knee come in this way because it puts too much pressure on the inside of your knee. It also torques through the hip. You just want to be mindful to keep that knee over the last two toes. Now, if your knee is coming out past the last two toes, walk your foot out a little bit, right? And if your knee is only coming to here, then walk your foot in. So we just want to have kind of a perfect alignment here the most important thing in the pose. The rest of it, you do what you do, right? Okay, so inhale, lengthening up through the spine, tucking your chin to your chest, rolling the shoulders back and down, starting with good posture. Bending that knee, bringing it out over the last two toes, and we're gonna rotate our arms up and out. So our hips are gonna turn to face forward, right? So we're not looking out over our toes. Our hips are facing this way. Arms are about shoulder height, palms facing down. Now checking in with your shoulders. Rolling your shoulders back and down. We are all guilty of it, right? Being like this all the time. Rolling the shoulders back and down, and pretend like there's like a lemon or something, a grapefruit, a football, what, your kid's head, whatever, between your shoulder blades, right there. To create space across the chest, and you're squeezing whatever that is in your visual between your shoulder blades to keep that space across your chest. Palms facing down, pressing those shoulders down, turning and looking over your left fingertips. Now check in with this right hand. When you turned, did it come with you? Send that right arm back to create a straight line from fingertip to fingertip, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Drawing that breath deep into the belly. Now everybody do me a favor, look down at your knee. Is it still tracking over those last two toes? If so, great. If not, let's make a few adjustments. Holding this for just another breath. And on your next inhale, we're going to straighten this leg. We're going to send this right arm down the right side body, turning the left palm to face up, and we're going to reverse it into kind of a back arch. So turning your hips just slightly, so they're now kind of pointing towards your left foot. Right arm sliding down the right side leg, following your hand with your gaze, unless that creates compression in the back of your neck. Breathing into that stretch, sending all of your breath into this left side body. On your next exhale, bringing this left arm down, bending at the elbow, bringing that left knee back out over the left two toes, lowering your body so that you're now resting on this left knee. This left elbow stays bent, your left toes, your knee stays over the last two toes, swinging this right arm up and over for a modified triangle. Trying to create space between the ribs and the hips, the shoulders and the ribs. Breathing into that space. On your next exhale, bringing that right arm down, kind of windmilling yourself up, back into that warrior two. Bringing the left knee out over the last two toes, rolling the shoulders back and down, palms facing down, looking out over the left fingertips, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Exhale, releasing your arms down to your side, straightening that left knee, turning your left foot. So now both feet are facing forward, hips are square. Inhale, arms coming up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, wide leg, forward fold. So dropping from the hips. We're hinging from the hips, dropping your head. Hopefully your hands can reach the floor. If not, you can put a little bend in the knee if you need to. Allowing your hands to kind of create a support if you need it, or hanging heavy if that feels good on the hamstrings and the low back. Bending at the knee, inhale, sending the arms out to the side, reaching all the way up, hands to heart center. Now we're going to turn the right toes out. Finding that comfortable spot where the right heel tracks directly towards the arch of the left foot. Good. Putting a little bend in that right knee, keeping it over the last two toes. Inhale, arms coming up to shoulder height. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, palms facing down, turning to look over the right fingertips. Drawing the breath down into the belly. On your next inhale, straightening that right knee. Everyone's called it an elbow. Dropping the right arms down. Just give yourself a little bit of break with the arms here. We're going to slide the left arm down the left side body, turning the hips to look out over the right toes. Inhale, bringing that right arm up, following that hand with your gaze, breathing into this space here. Exhale, coming back up, putting a bend in that right knee, bringing the right arm straight out in front of you, bending at the elbow and lowering down to rest your body weight on that right knee. Checking in to make sure that that right knee is still tracking over your last two toes. If not, let's make a few adjustments. Keeping your gaze forward if that's comfortable. Inhale, bringing that arm straight up overhead. No, not straight up overhead. Not at all, actually. Creating like a perfect line, kind of from your hip, shooting straight out through your fingertips. So the best thing about the Zoom thing is, right, like when you're in these poses in a regular yoga class, if you don't have mirrors, you're like, I wonder if I'm doing this right. And you're really way up here. And then you see yourself and you're like, oh, that's better. So it may, in the long run, actually make us all better instructors. We actually get to see we're held to a higher standard on here. One more breath here. And on your exhale, we're going to kind of windmill our arms up and return to that warrior two. Checking in with your knee over the last two toes, checking in with your shoulders, backing down, squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking over the right fingertips. Exhale, bringing your arms down, shaking them out, turning your right toes to face forward, keeping your hips, or keeping your hips open, keeping your feet wider than your hips, rocking forward and back. Inhale, arms coming up overhead. Palms facing out. Exhale, dropping the hips back, forward fold. Hands coming to meet the floor. Taking a breath here. On your next exhale, beginning to walk your hands over towards that right foot, as far as is comfortable for you. So if you're feeling an opening or you're feeling a stretch on either leg, when it gets to the point where it begins to be uncomfortable, you've gone too far. So just to the point where it's a comfortable stretch. Taking a breath here. On your next exhale, walking your hands back to center. Taking a breath here. On your next exhale, walking your hands over to the left foot. Now, for me personally, I notice that on the left side, when I walk my hands over this way, I feel so much more resistance, so much more tension in this left leg than I did on the right side. So, reminding myself that balance is a myth. Let me just spit on myself, gross. Exhale, walking your hands back to center. Deepening that stretch if you can, just for a breath or two. Bending at the knees, sending the arms out to the side, reaching all the way up. Hands to heart center, exhale. Keeping your feet in a wide stance, we're gonna take our hands just to our hips. So our fingertips are gonna be pointing down. Our hands are gonna be resting right at those hip bones, right? So sending your, I'm just gonna spin in circles. So sending your elbows back. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, bringing your elbows closer together for this part, dropping your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, just creating a little bit of a back arch. So bringing your hips forward, letting your gaze travel towards the ceiling, breathing into that open belly. Keeping those elbows squeezed together. Exhale, coming back to neutral. Releasing those arms, shake it out. Release any tension that you're holding throughout the entire body. And when you're ready, we're gonna work our way down to the floor. So however you wanna do it. Ooh, did you guys hear my knees? There's like an amphitheater in here. So we're just gonna come to seated. We're gonna send our legs out in front of us and just shake them out. Give yourself a little mini massage, anything that feels good. Increase that blood flow, release any tension. Good. Now when you're ready, we're gonna take that right leg and we're gonna send it out to the side. So I know you can't see my foot, but my toes are active. My toes are pointing towards the ceiling. I'm driving out through the heel of my foot. And I'm gonna take my left foot and draw it in so my left heel is in closest to the root of my body. I'm gonna kind of pull away the fat, right? We've all got it. We're allowed to say fat. It's not offensive. Pull away the fat away from your sits bones, just so your weight is really, really grounded in through those sits bones. And I'm gonna turn from the hips, from the belly, and looking out over the right toes. On the next inhale, arms coming up overhead. And on the exhale, I'm gonna begin to lower into kind of a forward fold towards my right toes. I am not collapsing into it. I'm keeping my nose towards my toes. So allowing my hands to travel down and find a comfortable place, whether it's on your foot or on your calf or on your knee. If it creates too much tension, you stop wherever is comfortable for you. Keeping that length in your spine. So trying to keep your spine straight. Tucking your chin just slightly towards your chest. Pulling the navel in just slightly towards the spine. On your next exhale, you're going to release and begin to walk your hands back up. Give yourself your low back a little bit of a break, right? Now we're just going to switch sides. We're going to send this left leg out to the side. Right foot is going to come in closer to the root. Just do it this way, ninja Rooney. Good. Reposition yourself on your sit bones. Left foot is active, toes pointing towards the ceiling, driving out through the heel of that foot, turning your body to look out over the left foot. Inhale, arms coming up overhead. Exhale, folding into that stretch. See, I have so much more tension on this side. So this knee wants to bend, and that's okay. So maybe I can't hold this one here. Maybe I need to take this one at the ankle. Keeping my nose towards my toes, though, not collapsing into it. Maintaining that length in your spine. And on this side, I really feel it here. I really feel pulling kind of just above my right hip, in through my low back on the right side. So I'm going to send all of my breath into the area that I'm hoping to release that tension. Exhale, taking your hands to the mat and walking yourself back up. We're going to send both legs out long once again, out in front of you. We're going to draw both feet up so that both feet are planted on the mat in front of you. We're going to wrap our arms around the outside of our knees. So not under here, but around the outside of the knees. And we're just going to kind of rock back and forth just a little bit. Breathing into that compression. Maintaining that length in your spine. And then we're going to allow both feet to find the floor. We're going to carefully let our knees begin to fall away from each other, allowing the soles of our feet to come together in butterfly pose. Now here's a great place for you to bring the floor up to meet your knees. If your knees start to fall away from each other and it creates too much pulling through the groin, you can either send your feet out further away so it loosens everything up in through here, or you can bring your feet in closer to the root and you can offer just a little bit of support. So shoving pillows or shoving a blanket or whatever you got underneath, not so much the knees, but all the way in underneath the thigh is going to give you the support that you need to make this stretch so much more comfortable. Once you get into a position where you feel comfortable, and it really doesn't matter if your feet are way out here or if they're in here, you do you. Sitting up nice and tall, so pulling all of that length up through the crown of your head, rooting yourself through your sits bones, creating a straight spine, keeping your hands kind of cupped over your toes or your ankles, whatever is most comfortable for you. Breathing all the way down into the belly. And on your next exhale, I'm going to ask you to drop your chin to your chest, and we're going to kind of collapse into it. I know I've said throughout this whole, don't do that. This time we're going to. We're going to let our arms go wide so that we can even use our elbows to press down on our shins to create just a little bit more opening. Where our chin is going to travel towards our chest, we're going to allow our spine to round out. On your next inhale, you're going to come back up to seated very, very slowly. If you were using support, you can push those off to the side. And we're going to send our legs out one more time, shaking them out. And we're going to do one more twist. So taking the right foot and drawing it up so that the foot is flat on the mat just inside the right knee. We're going to take that foot now across the midline of the body if that's comfortable. If for whatever reason that creates a pulling in your hip or compression in the groin, then you can just keep your foot right here on the inside of the right knee. But if you can, take it to the outside of the right knee. We're going to take our right arm and loop it around the outside of this right knee, and our left hand is going to come up and behind. So our palm is flat on the floor. Unless you have really short arms, then you can kind of come up like an eagle talon, right? So like you're pressing yourself up to your fingertips, whatever's going to create that long neutral spine. Inhale, lengthening up through the spine. Exhale, twisting from the belly, looking out over the left shoulder, but keeping that length in the spine. So we don't want to collapse into it this way. We want to keep pulling through the crown of the head. Breathing into that twist. Exhale, turning your head back to neutral, picking up that left hand, taking that left foot back up and over and sending that left leg out long, shake it out. Take a breath. Drawing the right foot in to either the inside of the left knee or just to the outside. Left arm wrapping around the outside of the knee. Right arm coming up and back, palm to the earth. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, twisting to look back over the right shoulder. Exhale, release, coming back to neutral, sending that right leg out long, shaking out any tension. Roll those shoulders back. Any little micro movements that feel good today. And when you're ready, if you want to put on a sweatshirt or socks or whatever, just to stretch out, grab a blanket for our final Shavasana. So we're just going to kind of return to that position that we were at the beginning of class. We're going to stretch out long on our mats. We're going to use a blanket or a bolster, a pillow or something underneath our knees to take the pressure off the low back. You can take a neck roll, you can use a pillow, you can use a blanket, you can whatever. If it's more comfortable, have a pillow under your neck. We're going to allow our chest to open, our heart to open with our palms facing up, rolling our shoulders back and down, tucking your chin just slightly. Letting go of any tension from the forehead and the eyebrows. Letting our eyes close. Separating your teeth, again, letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Beginning to slow the breath down. Allowing yourself to feel heavy as you lay here supported on your mat or on the floor. Experiencing the heaviness of your body and the lightness of your breath. Noticing that the belly rises with every inhale. Noticing that it falls with every exhale. And now returning to that sankalpa, the intention that we kind of talked about at the beginning of our practice today, and just revisiting it, reminding ourselves with every inhale, I am. And with every exhale, filling that breath, filling that space like a whisper or a promise to the universe, I am peaceful, tranquil, kind, patient, flexible. Whatever it is that you chose for your word of intention for this practice today, filling every exhale. Just a few more breaths like that. Filling every inhale with I am. Filling every exhale, your Sankalpa. And now letting it slide into the back of your mind, knowing it's always there if you need to revisit it. And letting your breathing return to normal. Turning your palms to face down and tapping your fingers on the floor. Feeling the coolness of the floor against the warmth of your palms and your fingertips. Getting to wiggle your toes. Maybe rock the body just a little bit, inviting gentle movement in. And whenever you're ready, rolling to one side. I always choose my left, but you choose the side that is most comfortable for you, the most comforting. And just taking a breath here. Pressing both palms into the floor to support our low back as we press ourselves up to seated. Taking our time. Coming to a seated position. Whether it be easy pose, your legs folded in front of you. Taking a minute to settle in. Bring our palms to heart center. Thank you so much for being here today or for watching this video whenever. Thank you so much for choosing to still be a part of our YMCA family, together but apart, right? We appreciate all of you. We miss all of you. We're very much looking forward to sharing space with all of you again, but we're so grateful for this opportunity, and we're so grateful that you're taking advantage of it. Until we meet again, namaste.